love your story, because I think we need that hope so much today, and such uncertain, different times. We're facing difficult things that are more of part of our internal world today than our external needs anymore. That it's really this fight for our heart, our souls, and our minds that we're really striving for. And your story is just such a testament of God's power, of resilience, of I had motherhood and now it looks different and I still honor it. And this is how I'm going to honor what my motherhood was or is, because he your son's there on the other side. And I think there's a lot of hope in that. And I can just see him watching you, being so proud of you and how you're handling it and you're doing it. And I find comfort in that. The idea that I've got relatives and family on the other side, like watching, going, yeah, she's doing it. Like she's got this. And she's bringing other people along with her. That's what we need more of today. We need more of that in motherhood, in our families, in our relationships, more of that fight for the light, I guess is what I will call it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that, fighting for the light. And that was part of my mantra, was staying in the light. And because the darkness is heavy, it's very heavy, and it threatens to just take your very breath away.
Yeah.
But you embracing your agency and knowing that this won't defeat you. No. This won't have the last word. No. And that was one thing that really stood out to me when the Holy Spirit was like, I command you to live. Because then I knew this can't be the end then. This, like all this grief, all that, like this can't be the end. There will be something good that will come from my son's life. There will be legacy in this. There will be good in this. I don't know where, at that point, I was like, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's going to be. But if all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called to his purpose, there will be good in this somewhere.
Yeah.
Either God's word is true or it's not.
Yes. And we're all going to be at that point that we wonder where he is. Even Christ on the cross had a moment of, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? We have some point where we have to choose. We're going to be brought to our knees at some point where we choose. And I think for anyone listening, just know there is the other side of that.
Absolutely.
And the blessing you're waiting for may not come tomorrow. Hi, it's Tiffany, Lorraine, Galloway, certified high performance coach with another episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. I have the pleasure of having my co-host, my partner in crime, Tyson, Sewell, with me today. And our guest today is an author and a doctor and a mother, Dr. Lexie. Dr. Lexie, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and what drew you to the podcast?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So for me, I really love what you guys are doing in your podcast and really highlighting the strength and resilience of mothers and telling these stories. And I really wanted to be able to be part of what you guys are doing.
Lovely.
Thank you.
So what kind of doctor are you and what brought you to write the book?
Yeah, so I am a doctor of physical therapy. So I've been a physical therapist for about 20 years now, and I specialize in women's health. And so I do pelvic floor physical therapy, and most of the women I see are pregnancy, postpartum, menopause. I deal with a lot of patients that have pelvic pain and things like that. And in my engagements with my clients, I realize that there's so much that is contained within our bodies that is also connected to our emotions. And so the pelvic floor, which is all our muscles kind of that line the pelvis and contribute to our continence and sexual needs and things like that, the nerves that go to them are also autonomic. So it's connected to that fight, flight, or freeze system. Ooh. And so when you freak out, it freaks out. When you go through stress, it tightens up in response to it. And so there's a lot of connections that happen there. And so that was kind of what drew me to a lot of these things, because I've been through a lot of those things myself, especially after having my son. But my book, Sunny with a Chance of Showers, is really my journey through grief and into hope and resilience after losing him.
How did you lose your son?
So he passed away when he was 22 months old. He got pneumonia and the doctors missed it. On a Monday, they said, we took him to the doctor. They said, it's just a virus. He'll be fine. Never did a chest x-ray or anything like that. And he was gone by that Thursday.
Wow. Oh, I can't imagine. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Do you have other children, or what happened from there?
No, we didn't have any more children. It took us about 3 years to have him. We had a lot of challenges in the beginning, just even trying to conceive. And so he was a miracle in and of itself. And then after we lost him, for several years, we were just like, yeah, we're not doing this ever again. This is horrible, because we were in so much pain and we were grieving. And then about maybe 5 or 6 years later, I was like, I miss being a mom and things like that. But it just really didn't happen. We did foster 2 boys last year for about 8 months. They were ages 6 and 14. And that was an unbelievable experience. And, the original plan was adoption, but they were able to be reunited with their mother. And so, which is the best case scenario. And so they're doing well and thriving. And so we're really grateful for the time we had with them. But yeah, so now that I'm over 40, the shop is closed.
Oh, wow. I should tell her my story then, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Honey, it's not.
But it is. But it is. I always said, once I hit 40, shop is closed. I'm not really interested in starting over at that age. My son was 10 pounds, 1 ounce when he was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so my body went through a lot after that. And so just the thought of like babies don't generally get smaller as you have more of them. I was like, just 10.
Yeah. My last one was 9 pounds, 8 ounces. So that was number 4. So, and I'm little. So,
right. So you understand where you're from.
Well, and I've had a lot of issues with my pelvic floor. So I'm really interested to talk about that because I did not know I should have been doing physical therapy after pregnancies and different things. The first pregnancy, I was induced. I did all the things they told me to do. I didn't even get to have any of like the pre-classes. So I didn't even know what my options were or how to breathe. And my first ex-husband he was in the rocking chair, like relaxing. My mother-in-law at the time was nowhere to be found. And I am like in the worst, like 24-hour labor. And then they numbed me. So I ripped all the way. I mean, everything that could go wrong in that pregnancy went wrong.
Oh, that's
Probably
awful.
I was really young in my 20s. So I did recover. And so I think there is an advantage to having kids younger. But then my next one, we were 4 hours from the hospital. So they decided to break my water. And it was just 12 hours of this. Nothing was dilating. Nothing was happening. I think because before it had been so traumatic for me, my body didn't know what it was supposed to do. And my mom knew a lady who does this thing called foot zoning that is very powerful. All your nerves to communicate to your body are in your feet, in your hands, in some different places. And so this lady came, it was excruciating and hit all these key points. But an hour and a half later, I finally dilated and I was able to have her.
Wow.
But what was the real kicker is, and where the pelvic floor stuff really came in was the third pregnancy because, the third and fourth. The third pregnancy, we didn't have an accurate due date. I decided after all the hospital stuff that I wanted to do an at-home water birth. Fine. But the midwife did not do a second ultrasound. And we thought I was due the beginning of July. And it's getting later and later in July. And I'm hot and I'm big than I had been before. And I am miserable. Well, I had birth in the water, but there wasn't enough gravity or something. So she finally had me go on the bed, and I knew something was wrong when I pushed, because I'm like, I have never felt that before. Something is not right. Well, it turns out it should have been treated as a traumatic birth. She may have been a week or something overdue. We'll never really know. But I wasn't treated like a traumatic birth. So the aftercare was not what it should have been. We went on a trip to Disney with my family at 2 months old, when I probably should have been in a wheelchair walking around. And for 3 years, I had pelvic pain. And I was told it was in my head. I was told it was from abuse before. I finally took a female doctor to say, okay, you're having Charlie horses across your whole pelvic floor. You can't move, and you have 2 little ones to take care of. No, we got to figure this out. But it took a female doctor to like pay attention. So I had to go have physical therapy inside and outside of my pelvic floor. It turned out my hips were turned. My hips did not line back up after that pregnancy, among other, and then that created a series of imbalances that were causing the problems, plus dilating further than I should have. And so that was a year of that, but that's 3 years later that I finally get the help that I need. So it's kind of something I'm always gonna have to be a little bit more sensitive to. And then my son, I was left, I was pregnant and alone during COVID. And so I had to have him alone, and he was my biggest baby. And I understood things better. I finally had some classes. I finally had some stuff, but I had no support after. I had to hire a few doulas. But there was no one. And so doing everything on my own, rolling myself out of bed when I had the big belly, all of those things had consequences on my pelvic floor again. And luckily I was not embarrassed by doing some of those things again. The first time it was like, you have to go in and do what, and massage my, right. and those kind of things. And vibrators were introduced in different devices to release tension. And as a Christian woman who that's private, you don't share that with it. There was so much. I felt like, why didn't I know my own anatomy? Why didn't I know any of these things? You've got a wealth of knowledge here, and I love that you help others and that you've turned your story into something to empower others. Can you talk about any of those things? Like, give women their options, let them know it doesn't have to be your pelvic floor can maintain its health through this, but you do have to understand some key parts of it that aren't necessarily generally taught. So
yeah, absolutely. And let me say first, I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that. It is so unfortunate that you had to have those experiences. And sadly to say, your story is so common.
Well, that makes me mad.
Listen, I have a large soapbox I can stand on. A large one, because especially in our country, women's health is not valued. And so there isn't training, there's not education. So many women don't even know that there's help for this. And there's a myriad of things, between pelvic pain and incontinence and scarring after tearing that can cause pain with intercourse. There can be internal tears that can cause issues with your bowel movements and all prolapses and organs coming down. There's all these different things that can happen in our bodies. And then we're told, you're just a woman. You had a baby. What do you expect? Without any, hey, this is a common thing. However, it's not normal. Right? Just because it's common doesn't make it normal. And there is help. Pelvic floor physical therapy. I'm so grateful that we're talking about it more over the last 10 years or so. There just are more people out here doing it. Before then, like when I went to PT school in the early 2000s, it wasn't even a thing. I wasn't even taught about the pelvic floor. We learned everything about the body. We got all the muscles, head to toe. I mean, we got to the pelvis. We skipped that part, like the pelvis as a part of like the back, or the pelvis as a part of the legs. Yes. But the pelvic floor, we skipped right over that, went straight to the hips and went straight down to the feet. Didn't learn any of it. And it wasn't until I had my own issues with my pelvic floor. And I had a friend who was a gynecological surgeon, and she was like, you should really think about pelvic floor PT. And I'm like, what even is that?
Yeah. I didn't know it was
right.
Yep.
It's a thing, right? And so, yes, seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist is so vital. I feel like it should be standard of care with pregnancy and postpartum, just like orthopedic surgeons. If you have a knee replacement, it's assumed you're going to physical therapy.
Yep.
Like, you don't have an option. That's part of the process. But doctors don't get that. Medical doctors don't get pelvic floor physical therapy education in med school. Gynecologists don't often get it. Some of them are getting it now, but
and I wonder if it was less of a problem when your family really came and took care of you postpartum. Because I've never had my mom come. I've never had, somehow between the partners I've had and the circumstances I've had, I've never really had someone there postpartum to really help me until I hired doulas, which it seems a little sad to me that we've moved into a society where you got to pay somebody to come help you take care of yourself after you have a baby, because people just assume, or they're too busy with their lives, or like, I don't like how our culture has really isolated women to deal with some of their health on their own. Oh, like, women have babies every day, you're fine. I think maybe that's true when you're a little younger. I do think my body bounced back way faster in my 20s, so I was completely oblivious. But 30s, 40s, we have women having babies at later and later ages. And I wouldn't have known about pelvic floor issues until probably my own floor was falling out in an older age. And that's what we think pelvic floor is. But there's so much more to it. And there's so much more we can be proactive about it now. Like, I have tools now. I have weights that I can put in. I understand it's a muscle. It's something that I can do something about. Whereas before, I was completely oblivious to, this is an issue for women at all. And I'm glad to hear it's changing, because I think as we become more, at least in America, we're really dependent on our partner. We're more isolated as an island, as a family, instead of a community. And the internet is not helping with that in some cases. And we're working from home, and we're home. So we've got that little nucleus. It doesn't give you all of the years of experience of other women. It doesn't give you the community. It doesn't give you the womanhood, the motherhood community we're trying to create here, where you can find someone who wants to talk to their husband about those things. I mean, like, you want to talk to another woman, another female doctor about those things versus your partner. So there's some places for that, but we really need each other as women. And I'm so glad to hear that this is being addressed better than it was in the past.
Yeah, it is vital, and culturally, the U.S. is definitely different, and there are other cultures that do surround, the mother as she's kind of going through and afterward and things like that. In this culture, we don't really have that structure, and also most people don't have that knowledge. Right? They may have teas and things like that they give you to kind of help your body build back and things like that, or they may help with the baby so you can sleep. But when it comes down to pelvic floor things, oftentimes nobody talks about it. Mothers don't talk to their daughters about it. When someone else sneezes and has to cross their legs, everybody just goes, yeah, girl, I know. And that's it. Like, that's all the camaraderie we have. Or, one person's sitting there, having a personal summer, and they're like, I got you, sis, I understand. But outside of that, there's no education on, hey, you don't have to live like that. There's hormone replacement therapy that you can use that doesn't cause cancer, that can help you live a better life, right? There are, exercises and treatments to help with, your incontinence and your constipation and your chronic pelvic pain and your pain with intercourse. And pelvic floor therapy is not only for women who have had babies, because I've had several women who have had pain with sex and incontinence and too much tension in their pelvic floor, which was causing spasms, and they've never had any kids, right? So it's not just that. It's not just women. Men have pelvic floors too. They also have pelvic floor issues as well that they also don't get treated for. So there's just a myriad of things and lots of education that people need to have in order to understand that they're not alone. Right. And there is help available, and, seeking out that treatment. If, you mentioned that you were kind of feeling like, I'm crazy. Like, I don't, am I making this up?
It's in your head.
Right? It's in your head.
About, or worse, it was affecting my relationship. Right. I can't perform at the levels I was able to perform before. And I was unfortunately kind of seen as the problem. Like, why are you taking care of him more? I literally couldn't. And they didn't get it. Like, and that's really pain. And
that is terrible.
Right.
That's terrible. And so because we don't talk about these things, and I always encourage people to talk to their partners about it, right? Because, if you're having pain with intercourse, right? Your partner, if you're with a good person, your partner loves you. They don't want to hurt you, right? So communicating what's going on is important, right? And we're often really good at saying what we don't like, what we don't want. This hurts. No, I don't want it. Don't touch me, blah, blah, blah.
Well, or just not even understanding what's going on. Like, it took that doctor after 3 years to go, okay, here's like 9 things we're going to try. And luckily the first thing, physical therapy, that she suggested worked. Because we were going colonoscopy. We were going we were going to try all sorts of things to figure this out.
Right.
My poor partner is sitting there hurting me, and neither of us really even know how to resolve it. So we're religious people. And sadly the relationship didn't even continue at one point. And now he's my ex, but we were even do we do sex therapy? Is that a thing? Can we do that?
It is, yes.
And the Christian faith we were in, that was really looked down on. If we were just 2 people who had come together, we should be able to figure it out. And those things are very private, but so do you have people that have to combine sexual therapy with your physical therapy in the pelvic floor sometimes?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I recommend it often. And the thing is, especially for certain religious backgrounds, especially with Christian and, other conservative backgrounds, sex, intimacy, pelvic floor, vaginas, penises, all of that is very taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. Right. Yeah. And so there's a big X over intimacy, right? Until you get married. Yeah. Right. So it's bad. It's horrible. You go to hell, whatever, right? All the narratives that you get. That's terrible, right? Don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't just pee. And that's it. Right. and so so then you're programmed that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Mm-hmm. And then you get married and everybody's like, have all the sex you want. It's amazing. And you're like, for the last 25 years, it's been bad. And then you want me to flip a switch and tell my body that it's good now? Oh, yeah. That's not how that works.
And then take that and get divorced and be in a position you're supposed to be celibate again.
Right.
I turned that on and now I'm supposed to turn it off. It was bad. Now it's good. Now it's good. And I can't have it.
It's so complicated, right? Rather than embracing the beauty that it is, right? I'm also a Christian. God made sex for a man and a woman, husband and wife. He made that and said it was good. It's a beautiful thing, right? And so rather than saying, hey, this is an amazing thing in the right context, right? Yes. When you're married, when you have your husband and wife, it's a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing. The desires you have, the attractions you have, those are what you have. That's not a bad thing. It's just in the right context. Mm-hmm. It becomes a bad thing when you use it outside of the right context.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so rather than framing it that way, it gets vilified. And then I've had several clients have, lived that life of, this is bad, and they get married and they're both virgins and neither one of them knows what to do. And right. And she has pain because this is a bad thing. And so now it's I waited my whole life for this and it's horrible.
Right. Yeah.
How am I supposed to have a family?
And then how's it supposed to help the relationship? Because when intimacy works, it's this beautiful thing. It brings you together. You become one with each other. And I think, too, people think the grass is greener somewhere else today, which is why we also have a lot of people looking elsewhere. And we have porn that's not helping either. The beauty happens when you both are willing to stick together with it and figure it out, because then you know each other's bodies. You know what works. You know what this touch does, what this kiss does, what that does. And you're not going to get that in a one-night stand or sleeping around. Sorry to put it that way, but you've got your part of that if you want it to work. And that means educating yourself. And so I've had to educate myself. I wasn't given sexual education as a kid because I thought, we'll keep you naive and pure until you get married. And then, but it doesn't work that way anymore. And like my own kids, we have conversations way earlier because we have to. It's everywhere now. It's not hidden in the media anymore. It's on billboards. It's everywhere. And it's distorted from what it's supposed to be. And I think we're given the wrong impression that our partner's bad if it's not good. Like our partner's bad for us if it's not good. Well, it's going to change. A woman has a baby, it changes. You get older, it changes. Hormones change. You got to be willing to change and learn and grow with the relationship and be willing to figure that out.
And it's your job to educate your partner, right? Mm-hmm. They're not mind readers. They don't know what feels good to you. You have to communicate that. And like I said before, we're really good at talking about what we don't like, what we don't want, but we don't give our partners what we do like. Hey, this position feels great. Hey, I like when you kiss me here. Hey, I like that. Like when you give them those tools, your partner wants to please you. So they're going to do more of what you do like. But if you're always telling them what you don't like, then they don't want to touch you because they don't know what you do.
Well, and I think too, it's okay to explore too. I think some people get really weirded out by people that want to dress up in outfits or whatnot. I mean, each to their own. What works for you kind of thing. As long as both partners are okay with it. And maybe if you've lost that little zest in it, maybe it's time to explore some things. Maybe it's time to bring some different things in, but at least you're still doing it with the person that you love and you're figuring it out together.
Absolutely.
Maybe there's some pelvic floor that needs done. Maybe it could be everything from psychology to work through trauma to something physical that you need to address. But just to dump a partner because it's not working in the bedroom? Really?
Right.
Is that all your relationship was? I mean, thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.